Okay.
He's got a game, pickleball game later.
Thank you, America. And for the public village plan, one nation, under indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call.
Mr. Blanton.
Here.
Mr. Reiniger.
Here.
Mr. Robinson.
Here. We have a motion to approve the expenditures for December 22nd through January 18th. I'll make a motion to approve the expenditures December 22 through January 18th, 2023. I will second that.
Okay, Mr. Blanton.
Yes.
Mr. Reiniger.
Yes.
Mr. Robinson.
Yes. And the motion to approve the minutes from December 23rd to the January 4th meetings. I will make a motion to approve the minutes as presented by this boss. I'll second.
Mr. Blanton.
Yes.
Mr. Reiniger.
Yes.
Mr. Robinson.
Yeah. Okay, departments, police department.
Lieutenant Dave Dowling, reporting for the month of December. We had 299 runs in the month of December, 156 for the police details, 23 non-related. We had 84 requests for mining authority to respond outside. We had 65 times. We had 97 requests for aid from the other township areas that have occurred 45 times. I had 8 criminal reports, various offenses, and 9 non-criminal reports. I'm sorry, I believe that's it correctly. I believe it's 4 non-criminal, which is 2 deceased persons, 2 chemical offenses, and 8 non-accidents. Let's go to Mr. Reed a little bit about I mean for cruisers. I'm sending that to much paperwork that trading in with the older ones. We do have a couple of utilities coming in that we can get you a good bill. That's going to be in the ballpark of $50,000. I was also going to why I spoke to Chief next week. If the township makes a good idea of what taking these in the cruisers, that's another option. It's forward to take them. That's all I have. If there's any questions,
I think we got bids on cruisers last year before a contract ended, and we're gonna hold up and see what the other municipalities pay for the cruiser, and see if everybody's gonna be paying cents for the cruiser. That's what we're working on.
Okay, I have a question for you. Well, not a question, it's looking for comment. The sheriff's office selection to back a lot of the agencies and finding the pick up, which it seems like remove one of those things, but I don't know, I just want to give you a take, because I talked about that. Is that something you would be able to look at?
I think so.
Or
Whatever you want. I haven't heard anybody that I know is driving that. We mostly did buy the utilities, which all-wheel drive, the parents and the Chargers did, and they got the space into it, which that worked pretty well. I don't personally know anybody that drive a pickup except the tech rangers. I'm not sure what they drive. But if that's something you're interested in, I can ask the garage staff to look into it.
well, I would just say, just stop and be quickly, but just if it makes sense for us. Like we were talking about the utilities that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
There is one for Explorer. He's also got the top of
Right.
the Explorer or utility is kind of that's the go-to right now. And it's quite a bit bigger space wise than the Chargers as far as equipment and down space.
My only thing with the pickup would be some incentives I see on it would be you could cover that and lock the cover. And then you still have this Well, on the inside, I think the over, we all have to like them, and if whatever you're doing, you be safe, and this is just what I do. Also, if you have an emergency out here, tornado or whatever happen out here, the fire department spread, you know, we can have a ditch on you. And get the utility, the fire department do something, or the township do something, something like that. I guess we're gonna like that.
Yeah, I got a little bit. Get you some information about it.
Okay, that sounds good. I appreciate it.
You said the township had 97 requests from across Idaho.
So I added this up, there was 97 times where a non-invasive farm was dispatched in the township. And their disregard, 52 of the disregard of that, within 25, very high.
I was just wondering where our car is at. That many times, I guess.
No, this is, a lot of times it's a two-man call, or another car is closed, but then my township car can handle it on its own, but disregard it.
I have one question, it's about mutual aid. The cars coming in are in the county, okay?
Right.
We're paying some of that also, we have contract, and we're also paying some of the tax.
It's the same policy as
White water.
Whitewater, Harrison.
Because I don't like this, they said mutual aid was the same.
Well, I don't.
I'm
There's careful not to use that word. I try not to say these words, did I apologize?
No, but you understand what I'm saying, it sounds like we're calling other entities and.
Non-contract service,
Sure.
coming in or going out, that's what I'm trying to get. If I said the word mutual aid, I apologize. And clearly, advised on the difference. Any other?
Yeah,
Yes, sir.
on my street, evidently, there's a person who wants to the front door. And ringing the doorbell, did you hear about that? Some people going in the back and trying to. Never the.
Yeah, we've got some waters up in the office. We don't have any more information or video or anything. That is, we disseminate that.
Yeah, that might be some on the town.
Where you live at?
I don't. One of them wasn't talking like that.
I don't know.
Why-
I know, yeah, the couple that lives there, I believe their daughter.
That might be something that we maybe want to put on the side. I guess it was in the bottom. I think one thing you're fine.
Well, can you put it out?
Yep.
Yeah, let's go.
They do. My knowledge, there's no office.
There was right.
Anything else?
Three. This guy's.
The replant of one bigger, especially along my, fifth granddaughter was born at, 6 p.m. Yesterday evening.
Awesome.
We found, you know.
Yeah. Yeah.
Although it's thin out here, but we get a 5. Just a few things for the board. We received a grant, in the amount of $122,000 for the retention, recruitment, and resiliency grant that I applied for back in June of 22. This is just the first phase of the grant for mental and physical health of our fire personnel training and overtime created by the approved training. The retention and recruitment bonuses will be the next step in the grant. We were on a conference call, myself, Zoser, Chief Lacey, Assistant Chief Street, and Administrative Assistant Calvert today on the parameters and rules, but we're looking at potentially 2 more grants coming from the same application. What I do want to say is it was a true 100% team effort. I did the initial application and revisions on that. The initial information was sent to me by trustee Blanton. And then the Chiefs team did a wonderful job. So congratulations to Chief Lacy, Sissy, and Rob on their very, very hard work on this. And if you look at the website, you'll see for a department our size, we knocked it out of the ballpark. So hopefully the next two phases of that will do the same thing, right? We secured 3750 from Wheat Bride. We're gonna have two farmers markets. I ran it by the chief already. The first one will be the second week of May, at Firehouse 69. And then since our Three Rivers campus is a Wheat Bride campus as well, we're working with them to have a second one there in June after school, obviously, lets out. This will be just like if you were grocery shopping, somewhere else, except, as for our food insecure population to be able to shop at this. And, so those I'll get you the dates as we secure it up next meeting, right? I'll secure the dates next meeting. And, we'll make sure that it gets out. So if you want to volunteer, you volunteer. And, just throwing it out there, food for thought, is if you guys contribute, you don't have to, but if you felt like you wanted to contribute to the cause, we could run some more maybe in the late summer and fall, and we can actually run 4 rather than just.
We definitely.
So.
But did you know that we drive off the Township project?
Right.
When it made the eight-wheel parking from in the center. We get about a house, tear it down, go to the retaining wall, you could be in the park.
I attended the Southwest Ohio Township Administrators Association meeting on January the 11th, 2023. The topic of discussion was proposed changes by Hamilton County. They want to adopt, considering CRAs, enterprise zones, and any new TIFs. You have a sheet that kind of summarizes that. That's attached to your report on what they would like to do with that. In other words, I'm not saying that we would apply for any of these, but I'm saying it's going to make it much, much more difficult. And what these are tax breaks for the business wants to invest in the property, or if you want to have the business investment in a housing enterprise to get tax breaks, and you don't know what those are. But the CRAs and the enterprise zones also allow tax breaks for businesses to develop property that's in a business zone or other housing developments. They're really putting some restrictive rules on that I'd like you to be aware of and look at, just so you have all of the information. I set up our opioid settlement portal, so we'll be receiving our share of that settlement soon. The amount would be about $4,000. There was talk between the township administrators that all of the hoops that you have to jump through to distribute that, may not be worth the funding. So there is talk of sending that off to the county and saying distribute it, that way, but that's just talk right now. But our portal is set up, and our payments are set up with all our information on that. Hamilton County Resource, which is the old solid waste district, is going to be bringing out indoor recycle bins to us free of cost to assist us with recycling efforts. We already have recycling cans, but these would be like the cans in offices and office space. You can separate the recyclables from trash. And I do have that resolution that I sent out to all of you about a week ago, authorizing certain positions to be able to spend up to $1,000 on behalf of the board that needs to be authorized every year for our department heads, and that to be able to spend up to that $1,000 limit. Obviously, it would still be go through the approval process, but it wouldn't have, it would spend up to $1,000
Per time, per
Per
month,
month.
per day?
per month. If you look at it, it was all, this was done by legal counsel.
But it's for days, like for days.
Well, for that, you know,
So this is.
yes, that's correct. That's, well, this resolution is what I brought up, that the board has to approve that on a yearly basis. Position change. And, you might add a position as department head, you might subtract it as a position as department head. And if you have an old, it's supposed to be done on a yearly basis, is what it's supposed to be.
It says in here, obviously, there were several questions from the board. It says in here, the meeting with department heads. On this section 4, they said it was discussed in open meeting, and their committee meeting. One of the committee meetings, and we left off the safety department, the IT department. It was supposed to have 6 departments, and then it sits there on section 2. The very top of it, it talks about a $10,000 expenditure. That they show parentheses, it only shows $10. So I think it needs to be rewritten. It's something we probably need. We do have
Alex will be here tonight. Alex will be here tonight. He's the one that drafted
Okay.
this. Also, I did send that out about a week and a half ago.
Mhm.
For input. And so, I didn't get any feedback, on that. So that's what I was left with. Yeah, there are, that I went on past practice.
I think the fire department has something that they would redo on a monthly basis, don't you? Is $1,000 enough?
Well, if it's an
You
automatic.
can go up to 10.
I know you can go up to 10, but I think it should be before you go much above 1,000, it should be an authorization there, not just you can go up to 10, it's 10.
Well, that's not, we're setting it at 1,000, but the everyday things they order, they have to order for the fire department, that's.
Well,
I think fire department should be the exception.
And I'm okay with that, except like I said, I sent this out probably 10 days ago and asked for feedback, and I didn't, so I kind of just drafted this, so obviously it's for discussion. So you all are aware of the change that needs to be made, legal counsel will be here tonight, and you can put your input in with him, that this was an actual draft by our legal counsel.
I just couldn't figure out why he didn't have all the department heads, you gave it to department heads the other day, the 6 of them. And all of the typo, there was just $10, you talked about up to $10,000. I'm glad he needs to be in there. We'll see Alex tonight, to find out what, because there's been no open meeting on this, this is the first we've heard about that.
But it's something you do have to pass it.
Right.
Well, we haven't had open meetings on it, but that's what we're having right now.
For me, so this originated because I emailed our attorney and said, and asked for clarification both on expenditures and what personnel could or could not do on their own, and also setting thresholds of the requirements to get bids or not have to get bids, and that we could take all that information and set that. So I don't know if that would be a separate resolution, or if that would be those would be the items that we would also address in this resolution. But I think that, as you pointed out, there's Ohio law and statutes, but we can also set certain thresholds. So, I think we should really
And that's why you want the resolution, because IT was not a department head last year. So that's a prime example.
No, this IT wasn't in here, New York State.
Right, and like I said, I went off what had been past practice, because I didn't get input as I asked, you know, what committee, you know, what department heads that were under your committees.
We do have a restriction, we've had a restriction on it some time, haven't we? On the credit.
We've
on the
always
credit
just said
card.
500,
500.
but we've never
That's
had,
right.
we've never made a resolution.
So why don't we, which we need to do this.
Right, and I
So
agree.
why don't we table, talk
Well, we
more
need to-
inside,
Fine with me.
and then we'll come back on the
I
record.
wanted to be brought up, because
And then we can be back. We'll bring, what we need to make adjustments to, we can make it. Bring it into the record, and then approve or not approve, and move forward with it.
Is there, can I ask a question on tip? So I know this is a proposal from the county.
it's just a proposal.
But it discusses the township proposal to create a tip, so we're already a tip. Does that apply?
It does not. It would be for any, if there was an application for any new tip.
We have a residential, this restriction pertains to a business.
No, not, this tip is, if you look down here, it talks about affordable housing.
Okay.
If you look at the very, a CRA is different than an enterprise zone and a tip, as you know.
Right.
Tip, but if you look at now, the restrictions on even, should we want to expand or put a new tip, it doesn't affect our current tip. Okay, it's any new tips that would come into play should the board decide they wanted to tip the property or do a community reinvestment area or an enterprise zone, which an enterprise zone is business. You know, it's one of those things that I wanted the board to be aware that these are the proposed changes should someday down the road in the future, should we consider any of these are going to be the new restrictions on it.
Not with our activity in the state.
This is just above and beyond.
Correct. Yeah, our tip is secure. The current one.
139.
Keep placing.
I don't know if it's in there, but there's a savings clause or something in there. That after hours on the weekend, we would need emergency expenditure for demolition or whatever. There's a clause in there for that. I don't know how you would do it. You've already addressed it in there, Dan.
Well, I simply addressed department heads, and that $10,000 threshold is set by state law. So the board can say, you know, give the fire department an authorization to spend up to $10,000 for an emergency situation. They can manipulate that. The board is allowed to manipulate that. The reason it's here, because this does have to be passed every year, because department heads change, and the board has to authorize those people to spend up to that amount, whether it's on a credit card or whatever. It still has to be in writing that they're authorized to do that, which has been brought up. I know, so.
Yeah, you're in question. Okay. Thanks.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Keep waiting.
How's it going? Good. I told some of you, and I told staff, I tried to move in more read.
Okay.
I just did that.
Next.
Just, for the month of December, we didn't include, we haven't included the year-end totals. For so much. We'll try to do that in the work meeting. But for the month of December, township, fire details, We got 18 in the township, 3 in Addison, 3 in Cleves, 4 in North Bend. Mutual aid was given 7 times, 6 of those times it's canceling route. EMS details in the township, we had 101 in the township. EMS details 14 in Addison, 33 in Cleves, 9 in North Bend. Mutual aid was received 4 times and given 13 times. Breakdown on the next couple of pages of those total amount of runs, broken down. Training, you can see the training, what we did there. We got a couple babysitting classes that people are inquired about. We do have a community CPR class coming up on February the 4th. You can go to our Facebook page for information about that. We're going to try to do 4 of those a year, and 1 to 2 of the babysitting classes. The babysitting classes are usually average between 20 and 25 for that. Fire investigations, 53 about Gary, investigated by the officers on the scene. Paperwork was filled out, it was closed. It was due to a chimney fire which spread to the roof area. 7958 Secretariat was outside landscape fire. There was no structural damage. It was due to Christmas decorations with electric malfunctions. We have a 1 open case, still, which is the one down at Cleves from the year 2022. Shelley's working with the insurance company and the coroner's office to try to come up with some things there. We did 4 car seat checks at the station. We did go out to Scarlet Oaks, that. We did the interviews. We had 3 folks from there to come out, plus we had 2 additional ones that came there that are actually veteran firefighters. And I would like to hire those folks, pending that they finish all their stuff. I'd like to bring it up tonight. I think one of them, we're still waiting on some driving checks, and we're waiting on, one of them had to schedule his physical, and his physical out, so I'd like to hire him under the contingency that everything passes, we hire him. Their names are, these are for part-time folks. Trey Amin, Benjamin Roaring, Benjamin Fosberg, David Lilly, and Joshua Coletta. Would be the 5. I make a motion for you guys to pass. Make a motion.
Dan.
These guys, the thing is, you look at them, you want to scrutinize the documentation of the hire, never comes to them.
Well, I just, we looked at, hiring attendants and other part-time, maintenance and folks pretty closely, and I trust you, but we're just hearing about this again, tonight, so, I don't know if you can have some paperwork just to look and see what the background is, what the experience is, or what, if they have a prior fire experience, or if they're right out of the academy, or what, I don't know.
Is Dan Reed involved in any of this?
Hiring? No.
Hiring, just made information on us about potential employees and who they are.
I brought it up here at the last meeting, it should be in the last meeting, we went out and interviewed, we were essentially trying to hire some. So it was in the last meeting.
I know that. I'm saying,
Individual, exactly.
Yeah.
Work.
Dan needs to be involved in, with my opinion, I don't know if the trustees feel like that, but in my opinion, he needs to be involved in it. And not only do we hire the fire department, whoever we hire throughout the township, he needs to be involved. If he's not in the process, process, he needs to at least be aware of the process, and who the individuals are, and all the information about them, so at least he can brief us of the situation that we're in, which I know we're tight hiring people, I'm not saying that, I'm just saying, we just need, I think the end needs to be, I don't think, that's what I'm requesting in the future, that we be involved in this process, and so we can keep the board apprised of the situation.
Give me some guidance, like what you were saying to be involved, what do you specifically, what do you want?
Well, I want you to communicate to Dan, Mr. Reed, as far as, here's who we're looking at, here's the potential we have, here's who's applied for us, just communicate with them. This is what I'm gonna bring up, that's trustees meeting. We've interviewed them, we went through the process, we did this, this, and this, and this is the candidates. This is the background, this is who they are, this is where they went to school, and all that. I think when we are hiring, that's part of the administrator's job. And I'm requesting that you be as well, and all future.
I didn't know there was, I don't know.
Basically, Brian told, all the stuff he just said, Brian did do on this. He told us some time ago, he's going to the school and interview recent graduates,
Right.
but it was so short, we lost 4 people in a row, including Haley last night.
And I probably should have spoken at the last meeting, Brian, and I thought, I guess I assumed that was happening. But if we could just communicate, and.
I just didn't know
For the future.
what we're trying to do with as fast. And I've been standing here for a year telling you guys that I don't think I even need to go into, what the issue is we're having. So we've actually spent how many hours, guys? I mean, you come up and tell what you think. But we've come up with a process to try to get these people in as fast as we can before somebody else hires them. I just don't want to add to that process because we're already losing. So if it's simple as, hey Dan, this is all the research we've done, here's the applications and stuff.
Well,
We can do that.
I think, I don't know how they're finding, if they're finding applications or emails or how it is doing the process. If you have them aware of the candidates and the background of the applicants, so you can look at them, and so we look at him as administrator, and we can not only use you, and I'm not thinking anything like you.
No, that's fine.
I'm just saying, that's part of the reason, a small reason, that's how I feel.
Okay.
We're not trying to add to you any more duties. I think just an email. I think that we contain all that information.
Okay.
With each individuals and the secretary, bring these up at the meeting, if you look at them and let me know what you think, relate to the board that is coming, something.
Just, so you guys know, I mean, I want you to feel comfortable. I don't want you to, because we've already invested a lot of time on these applicants, these five. We do the references, they file an application, we do a full background check, driver's license check, they go through their physical, all that stuff is done before I bring in these two. There's one on here that has not done his physical, because he's a younger guy that just got out of school, we interviewed last month. And we don't allow him to go take any physicals or anything he's spending money on until we know that they have the cards and they're basically good. So all that's been done. We're happy to share that with Dan so we can move right along. Factory. He's be there tomorrow. We'll send it, Jim. We'll send it over.
Yeah.
I just want to get it.
Well, I just feel like, and I basically Dan articulated everything that I felt and was gonna say. That's spot on, because I just feel like, we're scrutinizing some of these other hires, and it's either a bigger investment, like you just put it out, all the time and energy and money and everything else that we're gonna put into somebody, equipment and all that other stuff. It's even a higher bar. We just want to make sure that we're making good decisions, I'm confident we are, but I'm sure we're doing that process, and we have some input from our administrator, and I can is adding more to this limit, so.
So I'm suggesting this, we are approving and we don't with the agency that the administrator reviews everything and whether we approve that, for them after we review, so we don't approve them, and still send them to them, and then we continue the next meeting. So I think we can do that and, go forward with next meeting.
Just so we understand, part of the review job description was it usually taken part in the part and the employees too. So, and you need to get involved then.
Yeah,
Right.
I find job descriptions.
there's also one thing, don't forget that any legal they have to use probation.
That's right.
And we evaluate
One year
them
probation.
as they go through the process and train in certain fields, and we do an evaluation on the white line, and we would have a lot of people go, and it's overnight.
Yeah, so my only issue is you're spending a lot of money, even if someone's there 60 months or 9 months or whatever else. But all that time, training, all that kind of thing. And do we know whether all of these 5 are complying with our policy that we passed a couple months ago?
I think there's a problem.
I mean, that's the kind of thing that I would ask. I mean, I would say, hey, there's what policy particularly we were about. Well, that's one of them. There was another one. We were in that policy, including that policy that everyone reviewed and passed. So I just think that that's something that, again, if I'm asked, I'm going to our administrator and say, and, have you collaborated with the chief and Mr. Hughes or whoever's, part of that, and is that going to fix?
Well, we had put them all the way, this group here, the group I'm talking about tonight, we've already put through all that scrutiny. All that's all been done. In fact, we went in and set an orientation date out, barring that you would pass them for the 25th, so if we're gonna go beyond that, I gotta call you and do it tomorrow.
Well, I think Dan made a good point. We should go ahead and approve them. And then, if Dan Reed has any issues with any of them, we can go off probation for the year.
And we can readdress it.
We can readdress it. That individual, you still be working with the other 4. Because, we did pass levies, saying we'll fit 4 people in each station, and we're fine with that.
We did have applicants that the Sissy Chief Street, Sissy, we put it out on our Facebook page and we ended up getting a bunch of applications in, and unfortunately, a lot of those didn't pass on just because of the references. So, we do scrutinize them the best we possibly can.
I'll make a motion if we go ahead and accept it 4 and 5, sorry, contention on administrator reviewing their documentation and then being in agreement with it.
I'll second.
That way Brian can move on. Move forward with it.
I'll second.
Mr. Lamb,
Yes.
Mr. Reiniger,
Yes.
Mr. Robinson,
Yes.
Under employment, it's actually for us, which is one of our new guys. He's been with us for about 6-7 months. He got a job with Fairfield, and I included his resignation letter. We have that as part of that. The absolutely remarkable resignation letter. I know we have a resignation letter on switch to monitor, but I thought he did a really good job. Explaining why he believed it. Patient surveys, Sissy average patient surveys. I always tell you, we're in like the 97th percentile and excellent service. This month for December, we didn't have that. there was one of our patients that thought it took a little too long getting there. Didn't agree with one of the hospitals, so we're scrutinizing that particular one, it's under review. We've already pulled the EMS documentation and looked at it, and looked at one time. She said it was 30 minutes, the actual time to get there was 16 minutes, and that was because we approved the Station 69 training, and it was all the way out to Buck Ridge. Those portions of it. The rest of them, we got, all absolutely great. So we've got a system in place, we've got a bad one, we're doing everything we can to find out why it was, and I plan on contacting that person. The last thing I'd like to bring up is we've been on a search to replace our total engine that was total in the accident. I like to thank Jim and Joe Yanko and Travis King, who rode all the way up to St. John's, Indiana, which is just outside of Chicago. This truck looked like I thought we were getting a really nice, gonna be looking at a really nice vehicle. We got up there and it was terrible. Frame was nearly rusted in two in one spot and just had a lot of maintenance issues. So we spent almost a 16-hour day looking at these equipment. It was terrible. That particular one was, they were asking $40,000 for it. So by word of mouth, we found out that Loveland Sims was replacing one of their trucks. They have a 2008 Suplin that only has 51,000 miles on it. Rode out and looked at it. It's a great truck. It's really a fantastic truck. It's got a lot of options on it. It's a custom truck. We're asking a lot more than 40,000. They were asking 120. Negotiated. They accepted, or asked if we asked if they would accept 115,000. They said they would. They're gonna bring it up because they didn't advertise it. They had to go through the legal department. The legal department looked at it. They cleared it and said word of mouth is a way to advertise. And they are reading it into their minutes tonight to sell Miami Township for 115. So we're gonna purchase that truck.
You need a motion to go ahead and approve the difference between the 41,000 and 115. Yeah, I make a motion to go ahead and approve it and purchase the truck from Sim. Sunday.
Who second? Did you second? I'm sorry, I didn't.
That's right.
Mr. Blanton?
Yes.
Mr. Reiniger?
Yes.
Mr. Robinson?
Yes. And really, this truck was almost, our oldest truck is what, 2009?
Our old truck right now is a 2007. This is a
This is a
2008.
2008, but it's newer truck than our old truck.
Maybe issue needs as far as.
Yeah, it does. It's everything we need. I think it's gonna be a really good piece of apparatus for us. It's based on our other stuff. Like I said, we should very easily for maintenance in just 10 years out of it. Does anybody have any questions for me?
I would do somebody else to go ahead, I'll pull the question. Something that Jack brought up that I wanted to ask, how far off are we from being at that 4-person per station threshold? I know we're down full-timers, I know we're down part-timers. Where do we need to be? Because that levy was sold to the township residents as we're gonna have 4 people in each station.
No.
I know we're struggling, I know the manpower's down, everything like that, but I just wanna know where we need to be to hit that threshold and have 4 in each station.
That's a good question. We, right now, so everybody understands where we're at. So we're at 4 personnel at our headquarters. We're at 3 personnel at Station 69, 3 personnel at Station 68. And right now we're struggling to maintain that level. Today, the prime example. So we're struggling to maintain that. We did expand 1 person up here, 4 up here for that fast levy. And then part of that pass levy, which, you know, I helped sell that, I know we needed it, and, you know, was to add more full-time staff, which we did. You know, expanded our full-time staff from 15 individuals to do this next time, and we won 4. So, you know, we did do that. But as far as going to more personnel for stations, I can't think that far out right now, Jason, because we're struggling to fill the staffing level we have now. So I can't, you know, if we live in a different world where we had enough, we had a hiring process that had an abundance of people to come in, we can probably manage that well. Right now, you're honestly still not forward with that.
And my other question is, I'm in that bufferish neighborhood as well. What's a normal response time for the 70s if they're out, or even 68s to come up that far? Because it seems like it's 11.
Normal response time for us from station 7 to 12 minutes normal. So we added an additional 4 or 5 minutes from the station. We're looking, you know, that subdivision out there, the one right now we're looking at, because there's other issues going on out there, so we're trying to figure things out there, how that's something that expansion is farther away from our station. The NFPA has guidelines on how many people we have for staffing, and how many, you know, where the station should be located, and ordinance with where, you know, where folks live, population. Just inside that threshold, which the addition of not bridge, subdivision, fairly inside that.
That's one of the things that the board in the future can start looking at. About a satellite station out there for at least a medic and a chase car to respond. And just have 2 people there. To get to the situation until the rest of the guys can show up. But as you know, if you think about it, not many lots out there you could buy. A lot at the bottom of the hill. At Fifthway and Dahlia, there's a possibility, but the problem there is that that's bought with the collaboration of Green Township. You don't have a whole lot of land down there. We just gotta find a place to, you know, even take the station in Addison, the old station in Addison. There's something community up there.
Yeah, I just, you know, not trying to put Brian on the spot.
There's something
Feel it out. You got a are out there.
There's a station over there. The problem is we have to buy that part of land, we can't do nothing, you can't spend money on profits, not on.
I just have one thing, I want to say thank you. For the response you gave in my house 2 weeks ago. It's very professional. I think it's 20 after 5 in the morning when I had a serious incident. Luckily, it didn't turn into a real serious incident. That's true. Response time was good. Firefighters were professional. They did everything in their power to check my complete house to see where the issue was. He came personally from his house before he went into it. There was a guy in my kids tapped me on the shoulder, recorder said, 2 places. So thank you very much. It all turned out good.
I try to get in touch with you, I try to call you.
Called you back, but anyway, it all turned out good, but you don't really realize how bad you need fire department. When your castle is going down, it's a big deal. And I live in a place where it's hard to get to, right? It's not easy to get to, and once you get there, it's hard to get back out. They did a successful job. They didn't even touch grass and stuff when they left the residence. And I was just totally pleased. And the outcome turned out, so I don't know if you even have an investigation on my place.
Oh, back to you. I know you get sent your range also.
Came back from Jim there, and came back from everybody at my house, completely tested from propane tank all the way to every appliance. Your health test in 15 minutes. They checked the room, they were in it out. Somehow, some way, the propane was left on the stove. You know, I never smelled it, and I was up before. nevertheless, and I was lucky that it was never fired, but what I'm saying is the response, when you guys came, you seen how I was.
Yeah.
Yeah, I built the place, I didn't want to see it burn down. So I'm glad I tell you, everybody down there, thank you.
Thanks for telling us.
Anybody else have anything?
You didn't make it, Brian. I'm sorry, senior center. Karen.
We're about to 10 to 6, and then the door. Passers and vendors, and so lunch and dinner. We have pictures of Santa Claus, thanks to Santa Claus and really did this study for people out. Seemed like the whole village. December 8th, members to the school are rugby. They run the history of rugby. Facility. And then pretty interesting. December 12th, and outing to Coney Island to fight this play. Dinner. December 16th, monthly birthday party. December 20th, members at a Christmas lunch. Let me yell at you. We're not getting any invite. Anyway, so Christmas brunch, December 20th. Very nice. December 29th, had a magic show. And he circus came and put on a great show. And like, so that was nice. So we're having a really good relationship. And it's going to be upcoming events, planning and open house with April 24th, probably an evening event, so it's much better. Send out special more information will come December or no, June, Washington D.C. press. It's on the books. I want to go to Washington D.C. That's it. Oh my God. Everybody says yes, thank you.
Happy New Year. Please. Month of December, we had a blizzard. A little better out there than that. During blizzard, I had 3 guys who were sick. They came to work. Just want to put a shout out to 5 guys that got work done. They have a couple problems with trucks. 2 new trucks we got, we couldn't even use for the first time. So, all fun. But one's back, one's still in Indianapolis. I do have, I turned a bid in for a project, the excavator, and to the budget committee, never heard nothing back. I'm sure.
Well, we just approved that for the year, so you bring it up whenever you're ready to order. You know what I'm saying? Yeah.
All right, nobody said anything, so I'm sure.
Oh,
Yeah, we got a bid.
I haven't seen it.
Yeah, I get $1,000 a day, I get it.
yeah.
Bar, the other department head.
It's been a while. I'm seeing that.
It was at least.
Yeah, it's been.
The other bid I got was for some fencing. Finally got somebody to give us a bid on it. That's,
I guess, this, about the batting cage?
Huh?
About the batting cage?
yes, got engaged,
Yeah.
magic on the dog park. That's,
Yeah.
just all of that. Gates.
I'm gonna bring it up here in a minute.
Thanks to Carrie for the nice letter she sent us for the cleanup down in her. That's appreciated. Need to mark the roads off of Jason's subdivision. We get a fire lane signed up. But they said they don't want their, we asked them about their own sign, right? As a,
So as far as the tracks you said,
it was a few weeks or months or, I mean, if you made some of the battle, I had no idea what was going on. Going out to fix it, I tore the dashboard part that night because I was in the shop. And good mind, I asked him, he's gonna be there Tuesday after Christmas, and he said, yes, I'll do it now, it took me 2 minutes to fix it. He told me that the wrong area was down the list. So the other one was something more than that. So it came back ready and took it back. Put it back.
make sure we have a whole team.
Well, we got an extra truck. To just do that.
Ron, we'll look at the podcast there and talk there and then talk to you also and we'll bring it up at the next meeting. Thank you.
But my own things, it's a, because of that. That's what not, you know, it's how, you know. Safety director, and you.
How much time do I have?
Oh,
5 minutes. You go to the fire chief.
you got a safety jacket.
Hey, it's something now, right? Congratulations, Mr. Ryan, on the promotion of the president of the board.
Yeah.
Dan says. Close out the year, excellent year for safety. We had 2 recordable incidents, and that's been fantastic. Thanks to our employees. Excellent record. Went to the Hamilton County, Hamilton Safety Council meeting, Brian and I, a couple weeks ago, and Ocean was there giving the topics update. Very, very informative meeting, and if you look at the cause of deaths in Ohio, it's clearly the number 1 deaths, falls from riders. And they did bring up the trench fatality that we had in the township, and that was discussed also by the Ocean investigative. There was no fines levied because one there would have been. Council meeting is tomorrow, our first, in 2 years. It's been a long time, but, Jack got that started, and Brian and I went down and talked to, the Village campus, and, we're combined with them. And doing sponsorship. So, also want, a lot of great information, and a lot of exchanges, what's going on in the industry and township, which is it's a good meeting. I'm thankful the issue with the spare truck was taken care of. Because that was a real concern of mine. And right now we're sitting, we have the Chevy's back when we're sitting, nothing. If one of our trucks goes down, we have a history on it. So, thanks to the board, getting that taken care of, because really important. It's, being the safety and, you know, you gotta protect the residents. And that truck, we have around quite a lot. And we take, Ohio Safety Conference is in first week in March. They haven't had it for 2 years, so it's, virtual, so we'll plan on going up. If anybody had the members of the township would like to do, we want to welcome to it. It's a 3-day event, we're gonna look at least one, and it takes some classes around safety. It's a good educational experience for us. And we did a lot of them. Look forward to this year being safe and again, zero. One of our employees is injured, and we suffer. If you look at our accidents, just one accident going through the process, Dan, you know this, going through the process, investigating, getting patients to the hospital, making sure they're taken care of. It's usually about that. Time we totally done with the police that it's such good paper. We want to make sure everything. It's kind of what's going on in minor. Thank you, we should work the city.
Thank you.
We appreciate it. That's it.
That's it. You can go now.
Thanks.
Okay, Mike, you want to bring down the roll? She's there. Oh, okay.
She's hiding.
I'm sorry.
I didn't see you either.
I knew you did all, I didn't get back there.
Good evening. So December, we're recovering from after 30+ Christmas events at the center. Thanks to Ronnie for helping with all the Christmas stuff. We appreciate the wreaths getting up and all the stuff outside. All the clients out of those. I appreciate that. And it's kind of fun when you're all here doing, you know, circus watching it on, so when you're putting the wreaths up. Very professional. January, we're spending a lot of time cleaning, dismantling Christmas. We do have AARP coming in shortly to do taxes for the senior center. They were here today. They did test all of the, tested, well, they're still working on it. It's a problem there and not out this time. Thank goodness. So that's been taken care of. So they'll be here doing taxes for seniors. January, I could literally spend every day and every night doing appointments for people that want to view the center. So I try to figure out a way to get as many people in for private appointments as I can, and then also do some sort of open house. So I've decided to do a monthly open house starting in January. So we're gonna do the first one, June 26th, from 6 o'clock to 8 o'clock. And just as people call in and questions, we're just inviting them to stop up on that night. It's also good for clients that are booked, maybe doing weddings, big anniversary parties, birthdays. This allows them to bring a lot of family and friends in and kind of all plan together. And I'll be here to kind of guide them and help them answer any questions. I just wanted to thank Cindy quickly. I had a lot of questions for her about the revenue report that went out. I kept looking at it thinking, right, this is not right. And I'm not always great with numbers, but I knew something just wasn't making sense. So Cindy printed out a whole nother report and said, well, it is right here, look at these numbers. So then she had to explain to me that the report she sent is a revenue report. So she's reporting what goes into the bank account that month. So I was expecting the report to say what we made that month. So I am getting used to that. So we're going to take Cindy's report still. She's going to do that. And then she suggested that I go and do my own sales report. So I started to format that today.
They have 2 columns on that report, so you guys see.
Yeah, so then I'll be able to see exactly what comes in, what our expenditures are, and what our actual revenue is each month. So then I'll feel better. So starting next month, you guys will have those line items to see. And then I won't be so confused at numbers. So it's just a very busy monthly season, and we're just moving ahead.
Any luck with the credit card? Even not too bad.
We're working on that. Definitely working in progress.
Well, just let me know.
Almost there.
Okay.
I think that the, open house is great, I think that's great, proposing that. I think that, again, when I'm here at events, folks come up and say, well, I just want to see a great space, so I think that, people that opportunity to come and check it out,
Anything else?
Thank you. DJ Park? Anything?
Nothing for the park. Well, we'll have something for the next one.
Mike Taylor. Yeah, Mike.
Can I ask you something about the park? Sure. Is there a reason we leave those events up year round on the soccer goals and everything down there? It just seems like, you know, we go down there quite often with my son, and that's a room because they're always out. And I think it's a new type, so that they don't have, they need to be picked up, put away after you see that, at least, you know, false off or whatever, or they didn't take it wrapped up. Yeah, it's so, I can mention it to you, so, yeah.
You think they would take a break? They do, right?
They purchased. Like, so,
Yeah, we,
so they purchased.
the association.
They take care of it, but I'll mention it. But yeah, I mean, that's mainly why we haven't done it. Yeah, it's not a cost. Okay. Yeah, it's a hundred. It's for an answer, just like throwing money out.
Hey, public.
Fine, thank you.
Library director.
Thank you, absolutely. Thanks for giving me a few minutes. Thank you. Hi, everyone. I am Paula Grunkeeter, and I'm the library director for all of our Cincinnati libraries. I know you all know Carrie Bernard. She's gotten praise already tonight. We have a great staff here at our Miami Township branch. But Carrie has let me have some of her time tonight because I'm here to talk about everything that's going on with the library. Hopefully many of you use our library here, Miami Township, we have one up in Green Township, just there today. So we have a lot of libraries across the county, and we have been out the last 2009. We've been asking for local funding and various levies at various points. So since we do ask all of you for your taxpayer dollars, we think it quite seriously to come out and give people an update about what's going on. Just to give you a little bit of background, you may know, or you may not quite realize, we have a really large library system here. We have 41 branches and a distribution center in Queensgate. We have our big main library, 40 branches. And then if you ever order books or materials that are sent out from other places to Miami Township, they all go to this big distribution center we have in Queensgate. They're sorted and they have to use. So we have about 1 million square feet of space. We, on average, if you look at how long one of our branches has been built or renovated, about 43 years in 2018. So most of our infrastructure was fairly old, and some of our trustees here may know, remember in the 2000s when the local government funds in Ohio changed drastically, and the way we got our money changed, and the library also had a reduction during the Great Recession. So that's about when we came out and started to add to the local community for $1 mil levy in 2009. That was our first local levy. We continue to get about half of our money from the state and half of it locally. We have renewed that levy a couple of times, and you may know in 2018 we went out and asked the residents in Johnson County, including all of you, of course, about an additional levy, and that levy is really dedicated to infrastructure for our library. So what I gave all of you is a little bit of a pullout from our facility master plan. We have so many facilities that needed so much repair. We actually had 3 that were not handicap accessible at all. So if you could not do steps, you could not get in those libraries. They were more than 100 years old. They had never allowed people who couldn't walk up the steps into them. So we had some real need. We worked with a firm to get a plan for 10 years, and it included looking at the whole county and trying to kind of carve it up into plans that we're all in the West plan. And that's what you see in front of you. For anybody in the audience or any trustees who want to take a look at a little bit fresher, that entire plan is on the library's webpage. It's 3 volumes. So we got a lot going on. The first volume is kind of a summary. And the second volume is what you see there. It's a blow by blow of each of our facilities, what they need, and possible recommendations. The third volume from 2019 was the budget, but I can tell you the pandemic and inflation and everything else has kind of altered all of that. So we're doing our best to stay on top of that just as we can. We have had several projects going on across the county. Over here on the west side, we have not been as visible because you, first of all, planning zone west is the only zone that is a little bit undersized for the population. You don't have quite enough library space, ideally,
And I think that has to do with, this is the part of the county that grew a little bit later. And some of those other facilities we have are very old. So we know that there are opportunities perhaps out here at some point to grow and increase to the facility size. We're aware of that. But as I said, many of the projects we have done have been to refurbish, rehab very old facilities. Closest one is probably Price Hill. I don't know if you ever been to the Price Hill Library. The ceiling caved in, we renovate that, and then expand it. So we have been around the county. We redid the Walnut Hills branch, 1906 building, the first one in the library system. We renovated, expanded that. Madisonville, which might be relevant for all of you because it's a real little library. We could not get any land nearby it. Nobody was California, and if you're in public space, you know that once people know the library is the land, suddenly the price is, a little bit different because they know we would never just pick up and move a library. It's very disruptive to a community to move the library at all. Much more than a half mile can be really troubling. So we had, in that instance, we have moved across the street to a new development. It's about an 8,000 square foot. We're leasing it from the people who developed it there, and it's becoming an option. So here you have a library that, again, they do a great job with what they have. It is one of our small, 2,500 square feet. It is just small. We really appreciate what we have and being close to the senior center, something that relationship is beneficial, but we often look for options to perhaps make it closer to what that Madisonville size is, like 5,000 to 8,000 square feet, if we could. So we moved along our facility master plan because nothing has really come together in Miami Township again. When we look at trying to move the library or not, we came out and talked to people here in the community in 2019. We know that it is kind of located city center for all of you. And so we are just working with what we can as opportunities to along. We've had a couple of other opportunities come up at other places. We have moved in those, but Miami Township remains on the list as one that we would like to perhaps be able to move forward with at some point with expansion or a move that's nearby. But there are many qualifications that we look for in the site, including can you find it, how we parking, oh my gosh, parking. We just redid the Deer Park Library up in the Dillonvale Shopping Center, was in this little tiny 5,000 square foot storefront. I talked to the community, someone came up to me and said, Paula, TJ Maxx moved out down the way, maybe you want to move to TJ Maxx. Well, 3 years later, we opened that up and it's 25,000 square feet, it's got nothing but park. So it's a great reuse of mall, tired retail, they call up and they want to move a library in here. So there are many options. I could go on, but it sounds like the crowd is kind of, there's only so much time. That's clear. So I don't want I know that's a quick overview, and again, I know that all of you know Carrie, and she does such a good job of representing our library system in your community. But because we don't come out here that much, I don't come out that much. I always find it important to make sure you know what has happened with your levy dollars. And my dad is a retired firefighter, he's been 25 years, so I take tax-funded services very seriously. And you may not always agree with everything I do, but what I do want you to not be is surprised about what I do. So I wanted to comment. I thank the trustees both for your time tonight, and Carrie and I have been at several meetings in the area talking to trustees. I've been out further west in the Harrison area up in Green Township. And I have to say, trustees and folks that do civil service, you guys are like the hardest working people in show business. You do all of this, you come to these meetings, they last, and you really, I do want to issue a thank you for your civic duty. I appreciate that very much. So I'm happy to entertain questions.
So I remember when the library used to be in the town hall down in Cleveland.
Oh my gosh.
And that's all you had, just one room.
Wow.
It was a lot smaller than what you got.
Oh my God. Well, because the one we have now is from the early 80s, so that must have been a little bit ago. Yeah, I've been with the library 30 some years and I'm 3 days late. So So relative to that, Carrie's got the Taj Mahal down there, but, we do wanna look at other options. I know,
Started using a pool complex.
I know it.
You guys have been doing it down there.
With the Y, the pandemic sort of, but that's a good opportunity. We're open to trying different things, and that's why I brought up the Dillondale Shopping Mall and Madisonville. You know, we can't always get land we want. Madisonville, there's a fire department right next to the library, and some of the folks kept asking me, why don't you just buy the fire department? It doesn't quite work like that. So people really, really want us to do different things, but we have to wait for the opportunity to move with it. So we got you on the list. It'll continue to be on the list. In the meantime, you got a great librarian and staff there, right? And I do appreciate it. Yes, sir.
Do you do anything but put a school down there?
Well, we do. Carrie is very active with that, and as trustees, we're saying, yeah, they have a great library. I visited there. It's really nice.
I have a great lot of information.
Yes.
And I go way back, way back. So it's been a great.
And you know, you have the great fortune of having a really quality school there with a library. Throughout the county and the city, not all schools have that kind of a library resource, but we do have an outreach department that delivers more than 500 collections of books to the county every month. Because, you know, we certainly work, and Carrie's teachers are able to do that, but we also do our best to bring those kind of services to people. So we have a very active relationship with them. Absolutely.
How has electronic media affected you?
Oh, and it has. During the pandemic, people really took off. I think all the folks who got like the e-reader from their grandkids and had it in a box someplace, they're like, I better get that thing out. So, what we have seen so far is the electronic media ebooks that has continued to go up. But it's a little like radio and TV. People seem to be doing both that and print material. What we have been working on is trying to bring people back into the library. So our circulation, which is how many books and stuff people check out, that has returned to about, you know, close to what it was pre-pandemic. The visits are still at like 70%. So we continue to try and remind people that we're still here, bring them in, do exciting things. Wi-Fi sessions at the library and computer access, boy, that is very much in demand, which is why when I say Miami Township doesn't have quite as much space. Up at Green Township, if you've been there, it's like 3 study rooms. You can reserve them for 2 hours and kind of work in your own area or do tutoring. Before I came here, I had a couple weeks that I wanted to make sure I was here on time. I went to Green Township and I sat in one of their study rooms for 2 hours. And I did my virtual meetings and then I drove down here. Those kind of space resources, I think there's a new market for that we want to be able to be available in Madisonville, even though it's only 8,000 square feet. We're gonna have 2 community rooms and 3 study pods. So I really think that your schools, kids come down after school and they sit in rooms, they do homework or they do things. Grospec has some of these small study rooms. So that's the kind of thing that I think would really bring value if we can find some things to do. So electronic media is there. What has kind of dropped off is videos. It used to be so popular, but now we're looking for new streaming service. So we're finding use in other ways. Absolutely. Good question.
Thanks for coming down. Thank you. And yeah, Carrie is a great cheerleader and ambassador for your brand, and she does a great job. That's down there.
Absolutely.
Yeah, we want to keep her out here.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, you can't
I'm
take
trying to
her.
pull her away to other places. She loves it.
No.
Hey, probably didn't think or get that. No. Yeah, you gotta go
Yeah.
up to the mic. We want to get a good picture.
Yes.
Front.
Yep.
Profile on both sides.
Oh. I won't keep you all in, so I know if you don't know, probably flying here. We've had an email from one of us for a month now. All I want to know is how you pick your contract with the money about. You tell me you need 3 bids, and you have a job and you only get 1 bid. Then you go somewhere else and you just appoint somebody else. We talked about it, I'm a contractor, I've been working on the township, I'm a resident. I just want to know how you go about doing that. Try to get answers for the email thread, your negotiations. I will come here on the said some bad things to you, I'll call and ask what I said to you, beating them. That's, that's a huge money. So I'm just trying to do it. I know there's work going on around here. I've been asked to put bids in, been asked over, and never called again for anything that's going on. So that's what I'm just wondering, how would you, that's all. But I'll argue, in the fight, just a simple, how we do it. I went on the price, on the house, and I signed up for that. Don't get any answer, I just don't get anything, so I'm just trying to figure out why, because I know that there's been some stuff that's going on. Thousands of dollars have gone through here, maybe you got this and that. All of us an opportunity. And there's plenty of other people in my township who probably want the opportunity as well, if they knew that things were going out to bid. So how do we let people know? That's all, that's all. I may lose everything. Let's just have you tell me that I have the opportunity. That's all I have to do. If I lose jobs all the time, I'm never the lowest, I'm never the highest, I'm always in the middle. Doesn't matter. But just having an opportunity to say, hey, come up, give me a price. That's right. And that's all I know. So, just, you guys can figure it out, give me answers, like, I don't expect anything. You can email me, you can talk, whatever, that's all I ask.
I can probably answer you every time you send something out.
Yeah, oh yeah, and like I said, I've gone back and forth with Mike, and I've been rude to Mike, and I take, I take responsibility for that. I shouldn't have said some of the things I said to him. But, yeah, we've all had some conversation, and I just want to, I'm just getting answers, that's all I really need. And I know that there's other guys that are worthy in this township that do work around here that would jump on the opportunity. That's it. All right, I appreciate your time.
Thank you. Okay, anything else for the public? Bye. One, thanks. Okay, no word, Mr. Glenn.
I will be very quickly too.
We're all combined with your.
I don't think so.
But you left.
So I got one thing, and it has to do with the bid, Jason. I will tell you this. Huh? Okay. So, did you get this or wrong? No, I got it. So I'll go on and comment just a minute or something if you look at it. So I have a bid from Bob Holzer in 2466 Harris Road in Hamilton, Ohio. So we've been having trouble getting bids from local companies on the fencing companies, especially real, it's like 4 to 6 months behind. So this bid covers sort of permanent latches at the dog park that we need to replace, but the main thing it covers is the batting cage down at the ball park. We've only got one gate on one end, so when people enter and there's already a batting going on, that they have to stop and let them cross over to the other side and start like that. So this covers that. The other gate, plus the dog park, plus the pool at the top. We've been trying that. We've been talking about this for 2 or 3 years. He's gonna cover all that for us and get that done, and with the installation is $2,861.08. So I'll make that a motion that we go ahead and get this approved with baseball season coming up in March, and we need to get this done ASAP.
Second.
Mike, did you have something?
Well, so we don't need that. I mean, this is difficult to get a bit out of this.
It is, yeah. Some of them won't even show up.
I don't know, I would call 4, right?
It is tough.
Different companies, and I'll tell you, it was all goes through Ron, as he grasped one of the guys that was putting the fence up around pickleball course, but we just couldn't do anything about it. And he happened to see him down there working and said, hey, because, and so we talked about it, let me down there, grab him and see if he's, see if he's already there working on pickleball, and see if he's willing to do it, because we can't even we couldn't even get a call back. We literally didn't even get a call back from 3 other fence companies.
If you call Mills, they'll take you 4 to 6 months.
You know, they wouldn't even call me for.
I know that walk property, we looked at everything, where everything at, I go,
Yeah. So, yeah, so we,
So that's why we're going with this proposal. It's one that we got received and we know they did a good job, so they approval to it. So I think we got a motion.
Yeah, we got one.
Did you have anything else?
Mr. Blanton?
Yes.
Mr. Reiniger?
Yes.
Mr. Robinson?
Yes.
The other thing, the other thing I have is we're talking about the pickleball courts and we're trying to, think of the name of the company, trying to coordinate with the company when the surface is gonna be put down. We can have like a small opening ceremony. Pickleball is really a big deal. But it's on radio now, it's on Sports Center on it, and I can't believe that's what it is. It's amazing. So anyway, we thought it would just be neat to have a small, quick ceremony and have people from the township play the first games on the fence. So we're gonna look at that here in the future and hopefully get that done in April or May. The other thing, I'm going up to the Ohio Township Association seminar in Columbus on January 25th. Mr. Reed's attending. I don't know. So we're going out for 2 days, sit through seminars to better educate ourselves with township business. And we're sitting in a couple of the live student ethics, couple of road ones. Yeah. Road maintenance, and there was another one. But there's seminars all day long. They go all day long Wednesday, they go all day long Thursday. And it's very educational. I haven't been up in 3 years, so this year and sitting for some classes and like I said, to better educate ourselves with township business. And that's all I have. Mr. President.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Roberts.
I had a very nice meeting with the mayor of North Bend Savings, in lieu of some comments about, proposed or the idea of a museum. I thought it was fitting to connect with him, and he said that he had no hard feelings, and he gave me a nice update on but the project he's pushing, down in North Bend, and so he said that he would be more than happy to come to the next investor meeting, if you would like to have sometime in April or May. But he's, that was a really positive conversation, and what we're looking at there on future endeavors. He also brought up that William Henry Harrison Parade, the annual parade is on February the 10th at 10:30 in the morning. So anyone that wants to participate, as you must be already know, there's a parade for the village to the tune and lunch afterwards. I don't want to bring this up, but job description to the insurance, we had any meetings or anything.
I had to cancel my meeting with the department heads on Tuesday because of circumstances beyond my control. But we're all going to put our heads together and get that done. So, and you know, if there's existing ones, we'll just update them and recast them, and if there's ones we need to create a new position, then we've got good ones that are already in place. Then we'll just go with those and just make sure you guys are good with it. You know, just as an update, just to have an updated book. You know, we don't want to.
And I did have I've been communicating with Red Center Carol about the roundabout. Again, we're getting to the point where things are getting frustrating again. I know there's been a lot of meetings with utility companies, but I drafted an email to ask that we reconvene and come together as a whole group and not just, the engineer, the engineer's office and, so, going to see if we can get that together.
You email from, I believe it was the county, I just saw it today. It's my first day on that this year. About the relocation of Duke Energy.
Yes, and that's what I'm saying. I don't draft up one now, respond to say that we, and I've already got it in draft form to say that we absolutely want to utilize property that the board has authorized me to work on that as in conjunction with the roundabout, and that we would like to meet in person so that, I mean, they send these renderings. None of us are civil engineers, and they just send them off and say, hey, this is what we've done. Well, you know, I've not looked at, I know the blueprints, and I don't know exactly, every little notation and symbol and everything else. So I would like to sit down with them again, which we've done in the past, say, hey, let's look at this as a group, let's discuss it, so that we can make sure that everyone's on the same page. So, but that is the only other things I think.
I have a question.
Yes.
One of our township groups.
We have the EPA now down, and then I'm working on a second one.
The country guy.
Yeah, I can't remember. Warner Netherton Bible or something like that.
Yeah.
But it was a country band. I don't know. You guys are on board with that? I think it's nice to have some diversity as far as the music genre. So we have a DJ being held a rock band. You know, my thought was that country would fit well here, but if you guys have, and it's let me know that I have been recently heard from that. I couldn't remember the name of it, but I know it's in the Bible, and they're interested. Sullivan and Jansen said that they dissolved as a band last year. So they said that the two leads said that, I can't remember which one it was, but his wife said enough with that hobby, and it's time to hang out with the family and vacation and all that other stuff. So
We have other work with that. Sure. But we need to look at it. Thanks, sir.
Sure.
So try to get them. Out. Just my brother, I would think 3 is too many. And two, where you might like it, and some, there are relations, so. And then deviate, having somebody in the middle of that.
So, my opinion, and this is just an opinion, is that once we have an amphitheater down West Park, and we have that space, and again, it's not a matter of renting stages and permits and all that kind of stuff, that we can look at 3, 4, 5, you know, we can open up however many we want. I again, just with the scheduling date of the stage rental and all that other stuff. If you guys want me to put together a third, I can certainly put together a third, but my thought was to just stick with the 2 this year, put it here up to where when that's open, and I don't know what your proposed time frame is, if it's gonna be that then, you know, we can have, you know, April, May, June, July, you know, what they're that was just my thought.
Yeah, that's cool.
That's good, man.
Brian, you want to give it some time?
I'm done yet. Right? I'm good.
What are you putting up?
What are you gonna do? You just sing?
No. The dogs will start howling. So just real quick, and if you got any questions, since we've been here almost an hour, 40 minutes already. So I just wanted to, these are very tentative plans. It's Buffalo Ridge in East Miami. It's a small park we took out of the fire department out there, that was relocating on that corner. And when we did that, we developed the fire department. That's the board agreed to that, and we were gonna, put that park back in. And we purchased a lot for that park. Well, we already own the 2 lots there, and we purchased the other lot that puts up Cal Street that way. So we've been working with, yeah. We've been working with them on the Miami Township West Park extension and that part from Buffalo Ridge. So I just wanted to just point it out to you real quick, what we're talking about and ideas that we have that we're planning on. So you can look at this, we'll have these out in the hallway after the meeting, and you can look at it. So this is the park here, this is Cal Avenue here, we'll have, for safety purposes, we'll have parking lot coming in here. We've got just a very small pavilion for the community out there where they can go and maybe have a small birthday party or a little family picnic, not having to go all the way to North County Park or to West Park. And these 3 areas here, one is gonna be swings and a small playground. It's nothing real big. We're gonna, dig into the hill here, going up Buffalo Ridge, that lot runs up and there's a hill there. We're trying to use some, trying to think what we call those.
Nature feature.
Nature features. So what we're using a slide coming off that hill for the kids. It's all gonna be handicap accessible. We're gonna have, handicap swings there also. So, and that's it in a nutshell. So this is Buffalo Ridge here, East Miami, Cal, and then Parks right here. So that's that, and then Miami Township West Park. So we've been looking at this, we've got a committee for this. The committee we've met 2 times with the committee, with Baron Becker. And then Dan and I has also met separately with Baron Becker. What we did when we met, we threw out, let the residents throw out the wish list of what they would want to do, what they thought the community didn't have already. So we tried to narrow that down, and again, this is all tentative here, very tentative. This was just presented to us last night. So on Miami Township West Park, it's still all the land over here, so the school's over here, our existing soccer fields are right here, and the parking's there. So they're proposing a medium baseball field. We've got proposed parking coming in off of East Miami there. We're looking at small veterans like garden with a monument for the veterans, a flagpoles. We're also looking at a bench overlook toward the river. We're looking at swings, like they have down at Great American, Great American, and along the small park, you can walk that. So we're looking at that, trying to separate them here. We're trying to use the view of the river. We're also going to extend the walking trails. So I think the walking trails can end up being a 1.5 miles, maybe 5 something like that. So it'll be a good distance for all the walkers and runners. And you gotta, and I don't know, I'm sure a lot of you have been down there. Our walking trail continues to run. People get down there and walk all throughout the day. So we're going to extend that. That's the yellow area there that's going to run. It's going to come on here back to over to the existing one and down to the third one. So that's it in a nutshell what we're talking about. So like I said, it's all tentative right now. So we're trying to not finalize it, but finalize the ideas. So they can give us a cost analysis. That's our next step. We do cost analysis and then present it to the board and see what the board thinks about it. And it all comes down to money and the needs and the community update. So what we need. But the big thing about it is that extension that we're doing, the new parking lot of the stairs, and I know everyone knows this, but I like to think about it like that part, those two parts would be there 50 years and maybe years. So I think it's good for the community. One thing I left out, we're making entranceways on the new addition there that we're developing, not developing, but we're putting a hiking trail across the street. So we'll have accessibility from the new park, all the way down to that fence line, at the very end of this park there, where people can cross the street and have a crosswalk there. So, and we'll have accessibility up toward our entrance, which is across the street, where they'll start and we'll go up on the hill. And Mr. Reed and I think Tim Sisson from Western Wildlife Board are walking out on 24th of January. And they're giving us free evaluation of this property. We're gonna do a lot of work for us, but we're gonna have to put some of the work up. So that's where we're at on that. I'm just gonna try to update everyone to the facts of what we're talking about. And go from there. I'm pretty good.
Is there, was it actually in there?
No. We're,
This is just an annex, it's an extension, right?
it's just the extension right now.
Additional.
They're working on that. They're working on it. We're gonna
It's
try
a
to.
library.
I like the commercial there.
So something part of that.
It's gonna be separate. We're gonna put that out sooner than later. Or it's gonna be later than sooner.
This is just a
Is this being checked? They gave us a time estimate, and the park is gonna be, instead of a year or three.
But the studies, and you have to have our archaeologists go down there and study both sides, actually.
It's gonna be a lot.
He said 2 years.
Right.
And then
I know it's that 2 years, yeah,
Minimum.
it's 2 years, but, before we get, that's completed. Of the extension.
Anything else, Brian? Oh, excuse me. Okay, Cindy, you got anything?
I'm gonna be really pretty. Our audit will be coming up this year for 21 and 22. So we haven't, they got the contract. Kim and I were just waiting, so that's all I have.
The only thing I had was that, last month I did ask Mr. Reed to look at the county on our sheriff's contract, because our levies get ready to either be renewed or just drop, and then, he did reach out to the administrator, and we gave him the starting point for the township. We're the township one of the police protection. And we feel like we can pay, continuing one car and identify a car, just a starting point to see what they come back with. Because our levy will be up very shortly. We're continuing to pay, even though we get no contract. We continue to pay our police bill, so that we can appropriate for that. And hopefully we get that settled, and it'll be 2 years very shortly, no contract. The catch dinner, Jimmy talked about luncheon, it's something that started years ago. It's business communities along the Broad Road corridor, just tell us what's going on, who's hiring, who's not, business good or bad, or do they pay a large portion of our tax base? Good means of communication among the plant leaders down there, and that's something we thought we should restart. Steve Lacey and his crew are looking at issues at Deer Run. Tremendous problem up there. We're in a big hurry to start the continuation of phase 3. And problem being that they drew up a resolution and agreed to it in 2015. But the terminology for a road, a loop, a trail, is different in each case. The road has to be so wide, they use terminology in their resolution, requiring a road to go all the way around, and it's, the developer's not happy about it. He's just, approved just keeping the, trail down there and some other issues. We've been looking at it for, well, really, it started in 2008. Some of the paperwork in 2008. In 2015, commissioners passed a resolution and just wanted to maintain the trail. But it had to be big enough for, emergency vehicles and EMT vehicles. So the emergency vehicle, we assume is a fire truck. Well, park path isn't going to be big enough for truck. Big issues there, and they're pressuring us for a decision. And told Brian not to jump on it, because they'll develop it, they'll be gone, we'll be liable. Other than that, that's all I had. And we do have an executive session meeting scheduled tonight. See, now I feel like, now I got to-
He just texted me.
He's on the way.
He said at 7:43, he would be here soon.
All right.
Did I just say that in regards to the police, sheriff's office? You know, obviously everyone's frustrated about this, and my concern is reliability. Yes, we're paying, but without a contract in place, I'm concerned that if something happens, that we don't have to form an agreement, we don't have to form a contract. So, you know, whatever we're going to do, I think it's in our best interest to figure this out sooner rather than later, because that's my concern, is that we've been operating without a contract. Just to cover both sides, that we have that in place so that we're not exposing the township and our residents.
You're absolutely right. We are working on a contract basically. We don't even have to have a contract. I mean, Whitewater, Harrison project, they don't have contract. And basically, the sheriff is required to supply a response to a service call, not patrol, but response to service call. So we still have coverage, just like in other townships where I'm saying. We've always had it for 50 years. We'd like to maintain it. But if we had to ask Mr. Reed last meeting to reach out, there's no indication the counties can reach out to us. They haven't reached out to us in well over a year. They did do a Zoom meeting once then. We pay $78,000. We pay $520,000. So while we're being blessed too, that's what my concern. That levy's coming up, we renew, and we don't get something moving. What you can do is just you renew it as is, might not be enough. You just drop it and do a service call with them. Up to this year. We need a response from the county. Mr. Reed has reached out and they did contact us back right away. And they seem willing to. Hopefully we'll get anything else?
No motion to go into executive session or
Make a motion to second. Contract, personnel.
Personnel.
Mr. Blanton?
Yeah.
Mr. Reiniger?
Yeah.
Mr. Robinson?
Yes. Welcome back from executive session. And take a roll call.
Mr. Blanton?
Here.
Mr. Reiniger?
Yes.
Mr. Robinson?
Here. The only issue we have to bring up and vote on is the pay that, put out for the township. There's change it from 20 hours to 30 hours for the people that it was affecting. Make a motion, change it to 30 hours.
And I'd like to add to that we require time cards to get submitted to Mr. Reed and but to go to 30 hours.
Okay. I agree. I agree.
I'll
Okay.
second.
All right, so who moved? That was Mr. Reiniger? All right, Mr. Blanton?
Yes.
Mr. Reiniger?
Yes.
Mr. Robinson?
Yes.
So, oh, go ahead.
I'll make a motion to adjourn. Any other business?
Second.
Okay, Mr. Clayton,
Yes.
Mr. Reiniger, Mr. Robinson. So you'll have to get with Mike and
You'll take care of it.
Yep.
Take care of it.